Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, finishing our series on the biggest draft needs for every NFL team. And we are wrapping things up with the NFC East and the NFC West. We'll have more coverage and predictions and analysis on the draft over the coming days, all the way through the end of the draft, which will be a week from this coming Saturday. But we want to go ahead and finish up this series. We'll start over in the NFC East, and we'll start with the Giants, who have the highest pick in that division, with the third overall pick. Now, the Giants are in a bit of a weird spot right now. They're kind of in a rent-a-quarterback mode. Russell Wilson is now in New York after leaving the Steelers. They also added Jameis Winston for some extra depth and experience there as well. But neither of those guys are the franchise quarterbacks in New York. We know that's not going to be the case. Neither of those guys could be there at this time next year. It really just kind of feels like a rent-a-quarterback, and let's hope we can be competitive and hope we can be better than we've been. But if you look at the Giants in this draft, they don't really have a glaring need per se. And at number 3, it's going to come down to what the Browns do for what the Giants decide to do. You know, we expect Cam Ward to go number 1 to the Titans, but the Browns could go so many different directions. They could draft a quarterback in Shedeur Sanders. They could draft Travis Hunter. They could draft Abdul Carter. Depending on what they do, the Giants are going to be left with a major question. You know, do they, if Shedeur Sanders is not number 2 overall, do the Giants go ahead and draft Sanders, let him learn behind a guy who did win a Super Bowl in Russell Wilson, and have Sanders be the franchise guy going forward? Do you draft Travis Hunter to give yourself a playmaker on both sides of the ball? Do you draft Abdul Carter to try to enforce your defense if he's still available? So the Giants, to me, I think are in a kind of a best available mode. Whoever's best available, number 3, and there clearly will be a lot, that's who they go with. They just got a lot of questions, and the future is very unclear. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket on a quarterback in a weak draft class when you've already got 2 experienced guys on your roster. Wait till next year if I'm the Giants for a quarterback. So I say best available. I say Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter. One of them is going to be available, if not both of them at number 3. You draft one of them and hope to continue to build and make your franchise respectable again. Speaking of being respectable again, the Cowboys haven't been respectable since, the 1990s? They had the 12th overall pick in the draft, and I just think the Cowboys are in for a bad year. They made an absolutely embarrassing hire by promoting from within and giving Brian Schottenheimer the job. I know many Cowboy fans were not thrilled with that hire, and they shouldn't have been. Jerry Jones is essentially running that franchise into the ground. Dak Prescott is just a mediocre quarterback, and you've got to hope he can stay healthy, and even if he is healthy, you've got to hope he doesn't give the ball to the other team. So what do the Cowboys need to do in this draft? Bottom line is, whatever they do, it's not going to make them competitive. It's not going to make them that good, especially now in a division with the reigning Super Bowl champions and a Commanders team that was in the NFC Championship. But if I'm the Cowboys, I'm going offense here. Number 12 overall, you've got to find a way to improve your offense. Outside of CeeDee Lamb, who do the Cowboys have to throw to? Who does Dak Prescott have to throw to outside of CeeDee Lamb? They really don't have anybody. So you've got to find yourself a wide receiver to go opposite of CeeDee Lamb, kind of become that wide receiver too. A lot of people are wanting the Cowboys to go running back. And if you do, I say, who are you going to get? Because Ashton Genty's going to be gone. Maybe you go someone like Cam Scadaboo or someone like that, but 12 seems a little high for him. They did add Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders, so I don't really think running back's as big of a need as they say. They need to find another weapon in the passing game, and then maybe later on draft some cornerback help on the defensive side of the ball to help improve that defense. So this is a Cowboys team that, again, I think is in for another bad year. And again, it has me questioning a lot of what Jerry Jones is doing down in Dallas. The Commanders are at number 29. They were the biggest surprise in the league last year, right? Had the number 2 overall pick at this time last year, draft Jaden Daniels, and the rest is history, going all the way to the NFC Championship. They're not going to catch anybody by surprise now. They've got a lot of talent on the offensive side of the ball. They are obviously a team that has very high expectations now. But I think this is a team that really offensively looks good, a team that needs more help defensively, especially on the defensive line. The Commanders were not very good at creating pressure last year. None of their defensive linemen had more than 5 sacks in 2024. So I think you add some extra defensive line depth, someone that can wreak a little bit of havoc in the backfield, get some pressure on opposing quarterbacks, and then, of course, as you progress through this draft, maybe add some more depth in the back 7. You get your linebacking core, you got your secondary as well. But the offense looks to be in pretty good shape. You've got your franchise quarterback. You've got some really good wide receiver talent. This is a team I really, really like heading into 2025. Defense needs to be the priority. And then the Eagles, the reigning Super Bowl champions, the last pick in the draft as of right now. Of course, this is assuming no one trades up or anything like that. They won the Super Bowl, and how'd they do it? They won the Super Bowl with domination in the trenches. They were so good on the offensive line. They were so good on the defensive line. But as is the case for most teams that win a Super Bowl, the Eagles lost a lot of players. They lost a lot of players to free agency, expiring contracts, things like that. The offense is in very good shape. They've got their franchise guy in Jalen Hurts. They've got some great talent at wide receiver. You got Saquon Barkley. You're fine. But the defense lost a lot of people after that Super Bowl. You lose Milton Williams. You lose C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who they traded, by the way. If I'm the Eagles, I'm loading up again on defense. Find some guys in this draft to replace the key players that you lost. Are they going to immediately replicate that type of success and those type of stats? No, probably not as a rookie, but they can over time. This elite Eagles defense was not built overnight. They didn't start performing that way overnight. Take some time. They've just drafted extremely, extremely well. I expect another solid draft from Philadelphia, where they mostly focus, again, on the defensive side of the ball. Over to the West. Wrapping it up. Final 4 teams here. Start with the 49ers, the number 11 pick in the draft, right outside the top 10. 49ers team, obviously very disappointing 2024. A year after losing the Super Bowl to the Chiefs, they come back, Super Bowl expectations once again, and got nowhere. They were decimated with injuries. They just didn't play very well. It was just a very, very bad year out in San Francisco. Now it kind of feels like they're in the midst of a mini rebuild. The offense is kind of in shambles a little bit. Brock Purdy's up and down. They're dealing with injuries left and right. Got rid of a few guys on that side of the ball. The defense, they let go of Javon Hargrave. They let go of Malik Collins. Leonard Floyd is gone. So the defensive line needs a lot of help right now. The offensive line needs quite a bit of help right now. They're aging. They've been dealing with injuries as well. So if you're the 49ers, you're looking at this draft, and again, you're looking at this year, and you're saying, we might be in the midst of a tiny rebuild. Not a massive rebuild, but a tiny one. But in terms of draft needs, you've got to reinforce the trenches. You've got to draft offensive line or defensive line. Draft the O-line to protect Brock Purdy. Draft the D-line to replace all the guys that you've lost and trying to wreak havoc like you did for so many years that helped you get to those Super Bowls and get to those NFC championships. That's what the 49ers need to do. You're not really looking for skill positions right now. You're not really looking for, safety, cornerback, back seven, secondary type of stuff. You're looking for guys up front that are doing the dirty work, and you're going to have a lot of options with the number 11 pick. But that's who I'm doing, and that's what I'm doing if I'm the 49ers. The Cardinals at 16. Look, the Cardinals were close, right? They were close to the playoffs last year. 8-9 record. Definitely some improvement. And now they're entering year 3 under Jonathan Gannon, and this feels like a year where they've got to make the playoffs, right? They showed a lot of improvement at the end of 2023. Bigger step forward in 24. The next step now is to make the playoffs. Not go on a run. Just get to the postseason. They improved their defense a little bit through free agency. I will say defensive line help would be probably good for Arizona. If I'm the Cardinals, I'm probably looking at that. But you could also make the argument they need to get Kyler Murray some extra help in the passing game. Look, you can't continue to lean on Trey McBride at tight end. He's phenomenal. Over 1,000 yards, but only 2 touchdowns last year. He's a security blanket, and he is one of the best tight ends in the league, no doubt about it. But outside of him, you got Marvin Harrison, and that's it. So maybe some extra help at the wide receiver position to go opposite of Marvin Harrison and not be your tight end. If I'm the Cardinals, I'm going wide receiver or I'm going defensive line. Those are the necessities early on, and then you start to fill the holes as you go through the rest of the draft. But this team is close. The NFC West is improving. It is going to be a competitive division, but the Cardinals will be in the mix for a wild card spot. The Seahawks at number 18. The offense is looking good, right? They shelled out a lot of money to Sam Darnold. You've got Cooper Kupp. You've got Jackson Smith-Njigba. You've got Kenneth Walker. This is a good-looking Seahawks offense. I really think early on, though, they've got to improve the offensive line. Offense can't go anywhere if you don't protect your quarterback, if you don't open up running lanes for your running backs. The Seahawks desperately need some help up front on the offensive line, and then I would go defensive line in the later rounds. That's what they need to do. Kind of like the Cardinals, this team is close. This team does have a lot of talent. Can Darnold deliver, or was his stint with the Vikings last year kind of a one-hit wonder type of thing, and he'll go back to being the Darnold that we saw with the Jets? So a big risk that the Seahawks are taking, but at least they do have somebody, and someone that is proven and experienced. Then finally, the Rams. The Rams had the 26th pick. This team was close, guys. I mean, if they had beaten the Eagles, and they were, 10 yards away from doing that? If they had beaten the Eagles, they are probably going to the Super Bowl. The Rams would have hosted the Commanders. I think they probably would have beaten the Commanders, and it would have been probably looking like Chiefs and Rams in the Super Bowl. So this team was closer than you realize. And they've got a pretty good roster. Yes, Cooper Kupp is gone, but we know he was Not the same wide receiver we saw from years ago. He's banged up, a lot of injuries, couldn't stay healthy. So you let him go. This is a team that's, it's there. They're still in the mix for a Super Bowl and probably going to be the favorite to win the NFC West entering the year. But the defense is what needs the most work, especially the passing defense. The passing defense ranked 26th in the league last year, so it's not going to hurt to go out and get yourself some cornerback help and try to improve those numbers. Slowing down the passing game is going to be key. But additionally, you could also say the offensive line needs some help. Matthew Stafford is not getting any younger. He doesn't have any years left. He was sacked 5 times in their divisional round loss to the Eagles. Wouldn't help to get some extra protection. When you come in at 26, I think you're looking at the board and you just take best available for either of those positions. If you got an offensive lineman you really like at that point, more so than a cornerback, take them. If there's some really great cornerback depth, because naturally there's going to be someone that falls down that draft board, you take them. So the Rams, I think, address one of those positions in the first round. And then again, kind of like these other teams, continue to fill those holes as we progress through the later rounds. Whew. So there you go, guys. All the teams complete. The biggest draft needs, especially for round 1. The draft is, a week away now. We are a week away from the start of the NFL draft. We are going to have more coverage for you, tomorrow, all through next week, and then back to our regular scheduled programming of college football content, although college football does tie into this just a little bit. But we're looking forward to it. We want you guys to share your thoughts and predictions for all these teams down in the comments below. Who should these teams draft? Who should they not draft? What are your predictions and expectations? Leave your thoughts again. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, home to our expert picks, home to our weekly newsletters, home to tons of exclusive content that you're not going to want to miss out on, not just right now, but throughout the rest of the season as well. So make sure to go check that out. The link for it down in the description below. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on The Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.